Welcome to another lap guide at the daily race to speed, this week in Interlagos. We are driving the Peugeot RCZ. It's one of the easier cars to drive as it is very stable, has great cornering and is not that easy to spin out if you compare it with a Supra. This lap guide is not your normal lap guide. In this lap guide we're going to compare my time with one of the best times on the leaderboard. For this I went to the leaderboard and downloaded the fastest time in the RCZ, which was a 1:29.5. So the left screen is my lap and the right screen is the lap from Hero Grand 1000 or 1009 even better. And we'll do a corner by corner comparison of our laps. We can already start the comparisons here at the start line, where you can see that his speed is 3 kilometers faster than mine, and also he remains in 5th gear where I'm in 6th gear. My brake balance is -1, and of course from a downloaded video you cannot see what brake balance they have, so we have to guess it's something similar. I think most people drive -1 or -2 in the RCZ. The first braking point is halfway between the 100 and the 50 meter mark. When you're using the cones, it's exactly where the cones are. The problem is you cannot rely on the cones because during the race they are almost guaranteed to be wiped out. Stick to the right side of the road as much as possible and go for a late apex into the first turn. We very much sacrifice speed in the first turn to set us up well for the next few turns, which is basically the start of the straight. Brake hard for a short moment and trail brake into the corner. Stay to the left side as much as possible and cut the corner. Pausing it here shows that we are basically on the same line, but now something is going to change. In this corner you want to feather in the acceleration, otherwise it's very likely to spin or you overshoot the next corner. But have a look at the difference between how I feather in the throttle and how he feathers in the throttle. My throttle goes from 25% to 50% to full, whereas his throttle goes straight away to 50% and then to full. The next corner is a bit of a lift. You really have to abuse the corners here in order to get the most straight line possible. But make sure your left wheels stay on this curb. And have a look at the speed difference. Him being able to accelerate slightly quicker gave him already 6 kilometers per hour more speed. He will have this speed advantage throughout the whole straight. For this corner, make sure your left wheels are on the curb as it will pull you around. Stick to 5th gear on the straight, do not go to 6th. The next braking point is at the 100 meter mark, just after the marshal stands or just before the road, the little side road on the right. We see here that by the end of the first sector I already lost 4/10. Brake in a straight line, and as soon as you start turning in, get off the brake slowly and trail brake into the corner. And once again he is a little bit more aggressive in feathering in the acceleration. We have similar racing lines and actually our speed is relatively equal. The next braking point is just before the 50 meter mark. We're only braking a little bit just to get rotation in the car. We're shifting down to 3rd gear and roughly slow down to about 150 kilometers per hour. You can see that we have very similar lines and very similar pattern on the acceleration. This line is quite narrow here. Drivers in the top 10 will take this corner very wide. You just have to make sure that your right tires are still on the curb. The next braking point is at the end of this tire mark, but by the time you start braking you should already be starting to turn to the right. Generally I go down to 1st gear here, but you can see that Hero Grand stays in 2nd gear for this turn. Really cut the corner again, just make sure your left wheels stay on the curbs and slowly accelerate out of the corner. And once again you can see that he is more aggressive in feathering in the acceleration. The next corner you see that my entry speed is a lot higher than his entry speed, but his exit speed is higher. So it's really a classic case of slow in, fast out, which is the faster way of driving. Next braking point is at the Mistral sign or at the cones. You can see that he placed his car slightly more to the left, giving him a wider entry into the next corner. Allows him to accelerate earlier out of the corner, giving him a faster exit once again. It's also interesting to see that he stayed in 1st gear. In this corner you want to do a quick lift. We have now reached the end of sector 2 and lost another 5/10. The next braking point is where the grass turns green. Brake hard in a straight line and trail brake into the corner. 2nd gear and accelerate out of the corner as fast as you can. You can see that he is using way more of the road and once again is able to accelerate out of the corner a lot quicker. Make sure to leave a like if this was useful to you, and you can subscribe as well. From here on it's just full speed to the finish line, but make sure you take the shortest line, which means stay on the left as much as you can. And that's a lap around Interlagos. And by the end of the lap we are 1.35 seconds behind. I guess the main take home messages for me are to be more aggressive on feathering in the throttle, slow in, fast out, and use all the road you can, especially on the last turn, which leads into the main straight. We'll see you at the races.